So let's start with fire. Cell towers and 5G equipment, they pose documented fire risks. Cell equipment can catch fire. It can ignite the vegetation on the ground as well. In some cases, school sports fields had to be closed because of fires. This has happened at multiple schools, and we have this online at Environmental Health Sciences on our cell towers page. We have links to the cell tower light pole that caught fire at Otay Ranch High School Stadium in California and then toppled down.
On to a scary moment now in the South Bay tonight when a light pole with an attached cell phone tower caught fire. Our Phil Blauer is here now with those details.
Yeah, Kathleen, this is very dramatic video. Take a look at this. Happened about 7:30 at the Otay Ranch High School Stadium. Chula Vista fire officials say the tower collapsed onto the bleachers and rubberized track, causing extensive damage, but fortunately no injuries. Crews had to wait for SDG&E to get out there and turn off the power that was feeding that tower. Once that happened, the fire was finally put out. Investigators right now are still trying to determine what caused this collapse.
Heritage High School in Virginia, Thurston High in Oregon, Grandview Heights High in Ohio. And this image that you're seeing is Thurston High, where the news reports say that the cell phone tower caught fire. It sent a plume of smoke high above the Colts sports field. The fire destroyed some of the shrubbery near the athletic fields, but officials said it won't delay classes. Thankfully, there weren't any children or teachers or staff on the field at the time. It's important to, when cell towers are proposed, to think about, especially on schools, the fall zone. Cell towers can collapse during high winds, storms, or structural failure can happen where parts of them can come down. There can be ice accumulation that can fall. Ice strikes. And
they just reopened it here a short time ago. The concern about ice falling off of that huge TV tower there you see behind me, high winds this morning and yesterday dropping that ice to the ground below. And take a look at the pieces of ice this size, an inch thick. You can imagine what that would do if it hit somebody.
It is endangering citizens here. Cars apparently were hit. I don't want to be hit standing out here with you now, but it could be very dangerous for people.
Lois Weisner has seen it before. She says this is the first time Shorewood closed Wilson Drive, though, for a couple of blocks because of the danger.
It was kind of scary because it just came down in big chunks.
One of those chunks sailed into an apartment window, damaging the shutter and smashing the glass.
We have links to all of this at EH Sciences, where you can see examples of ice falling down off the structure. There's also hardware, pieces of equipment that can fall off towers. And of course, if it's on fire, burning pieces can fall down, things can get dislodged over storms and then fall down later and so forth. So everything within a cell tower's fall zone is at risk. And that is why setbacks are a basic public safety measure. When communities have banned cell towers at schools, sometimes this is one of the most important things. Why would we put an industrial piece of equipment near a school where there's children, students, teachers, staff that could be in the fall zone? There are often chain link fences around these or some kind of barriers around the tower, but just within, 10, 20, 30 feet, if that. And kids like to climb. They do climb. And there are examples of that as well that are on our website of people who climb on towers. When cell towers are placed on schools, on school property, on athletic fields, near homes and playgrounds, children and residents are placed inside the fall zone. There are also hazardous materials which are on cell sites. And this is a really important question to ask when a cell tower is proposed near home or school, which is what is the power supply? What is the backup power supply? So there will often be diesel fuel tanks for the backup generators. Those have to be maintenance. They have to run some of it off. They normally have a schedule, which is once a month or twice a month. It's important to find that out, what the schedule is, because then they'll burn off some of the diesel fuel. There are batteries, lead acid, lithium ion, backup batteries, and other kinds actually. Fuel spills and groundwater contamination are documented. Sites in my county, in Montgomery County, they are considered hazmat sites. Why? Because first responders need to know that there are toxic materials on site if there's a fire because of the toxic smoke that can be released, and the need to care for the hazardous materials on site. Another issue is that there are herbicides and chemicals that are often sprayed for weeds. I'll also note that a lot of times companies don't care for the property once it's gone up. There isn't anyone checking. I mean, the teachers and staff at schools are doing their job, educating the kids, not checking if the cell tower company is properly maintaining the grounds. And that is like a whole issue, is the oversight related to the care of the compound. We've had these issues in our county at Daly Elementary and in communities, I'm sure, across the nation, where it's left unkempt and things are growing all around it. And it's yet another issue with these facilities. Just a few weeks ago, the news was released that Verizon Wireless agreed to pay $7.7 million to settle a civil enforcement case in California after state and local prosecutors found Verizon had violated environmental and hazardous material laws at thousands of cell tower sites statewide. And I'll just quote the West Side Today article, which said, many of these sites store hazardous substances that can pose safety and environmental risks if not managed correctly, including the potential for fires, explosions, and the release of toxic air contaminants. There's not much oversight. I mean, I'm glad to see what's happening in California, but this is an issue nationwide in terms of the lack of oversight related to the environmental impacts. And I'm not just talking about the RF radiation, but all of these other issues related to these sites, because there's really no one checking. As I'm going to talk about, there isn't a federal agency that's going around and checking our cell tower sites to see that everything is properly done. Now, local communities can have some kind of oversight mechanism in place, but oftentimes they don't. They're not necessarily aware of it. You know, cell tower issues are quite complicated and complex. I hope that in time, especially with these federal bills, that people are going to start looking into this, looking into the environmental issues, the oversight. You know, how does my community handle the issue of cell towers? Ask yourself that question, like, who's in charge? How are they permitted? What's the application process like? How are decisions made? All of these process issues are very important, as are the compliance and oversight pieces related to the environment or RF radiation. When a cell tower is proposed, people come together with all kinds of different issues, everything from the radiation to the property value, to the financial impacts, to the lack of process, just not being notified, and so forth. So let's talk about property values. Cell towers drop property values, and their estimates, you know, I just found this letter going all the way up to 30%. There are also published reports by real estate professionals and analysts that find the property values of nearby homes situated near cell towers are at risk of being devalued 5 to 20%. Realtors consistently report that buyers are reluctant to purchase homes near visible cell towers. If you have a cell tower within the view, like if I saw a cell tower when I was looking for homes, I would look elsewhere, because if I could choose one with a tower or without a tower, which would I choose?